Well, I'm once again joined by Pete Baker from Life Church Lancashire for today's Breakfast Bite. Hello, Pete. How are you?
Hi Nathan, very good, thank you. Yeah, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and great to see you again. Looking forward to hearing about another of these heroes in this series on today's Breakfast Bite.
Yeah, yeah. Well, recently we spoke about Peter, one of the disciples of Jesus. So I thought it'd be really cool to look at Andrew, which is Peter's brother. And we first meet Andrew in John's Gospel, John chapter 1. And it says this, John chapter 1, verse 40. Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, was one of the two who heard what John had said, John the Baptist, and who had followed Jesus. The first thing Andrew did was to find his brother Simon and tell him, "We have found the Messiah, that is the Christ." And he brought him to Jesus. Jesus looked at him and said, "You are Simon, son of John. You will be called Cephas," which, when translated, is Peter. I love this so much. Andrew. Uh, Andrew was following after um, John the Baptist. He was a disciple of John the Baptist. John the Baptist then points towards Jesus, and so Andrew becomes a follower of Jesus. Um, and then Andrew, as soon as he realizes that Jesus is the Christ, he goes to his brother Simon, who becomes known as Simon Peter, and says, "You got to meet him. I've found the one that we've been looking for, the hope of the world, the Messiah, the Savior. I found him. I've met him." And so he introduces his brother to Jesus, and I think that's just something so powerful there. Obviously, for Peter, that changes his life. And history as we know it, Peter goes on to become this great leader in the early church, writes books of the Bible, has cities named after him, has people named after him. Peter becomes this great hero of the faith, but it's his brother, Andrew, that introduces him to Jesus in the first place. And so Andrew's a hero, because he is someone that has this revelation for himself, but then doesn't keep it to himself. He passes it on to his nearest and his dearest. And so today, I want to encourage you to be an Andrew, to be someone that introduces other people to Jesus. If you are a follower of Jesus, I'd really encourage you to be an Andrew, to think even now, to think, who do I know that needs to know about Jesus? Who can I introduce to Jesus? And I love this idea that introducing people to Jesus, can sound, we call that evangelism, and evangelism can sound quite scary sometimes, but it's as simple as a conversation here. Andrew's become friends with Jesus and become a follower of Jesus. And now Andrew wants to introduce his brother to his friend. And that's what we're doing here. We're introducing people to our friend, King Jesus. And he's not just a friend, is he? He's the savior of the universe. But we're introducing people to someone that we know and love and trust. And that's what we're doing here. So be like an Andrew. I also want to encourage you today, to think about who is your Andrew. Maybe you've been a Christian for 10 minutes. Maybe you've been a Christian for decades and decades and decades. But who was the person that introduced you to Jesus? For me, it was a person called Justin. Justin played this massive part in my early years of faith. Who introduced you to Jesus? As well as Justin, there's my parents who took me to church and my Sunday school teachers. And then my other youth leaders. And so, lots of people are involved in my story who introduced you to Jesus. And could you thank them? If maybe they're no longer with us, and but you want to honor them in some way, or maybe you've not seen them for a long time. Maybe you could send them a message, send them a letter, go and visit them and thank them for introducing you to Jesus. And maybe today you don't know Jesus. And so I'd encourage you to reach out, even to pray simple prayer. My prayer when I was a brand new Christian was, "God, if you're real, I want to know you." And so if you never prayed a prayer like that today, then I'd really encourage you to pray a prayer like that. "God, if you're real, I want to know you." But my simple challenge, my hero today is Andrew, one of the 12 disciples, the brother of Simon Peter. And so the challenge is be an Andrew. Introduce people to Jesus even today. My encouragement is to thank your Andrew. Who was your Andrew? Who introduced you to Jesus? And could you thank them today? And if you're not yet a Christian, then my invitation is to pray that prayer. "God, if you're real, I want to know you." Andrew knew the reality of who Jesus was 2,000 years ago, and you can know that today. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a good reflection on Andrew. And yeah, we'll join you again. We'll chat again soon about another hero of the faith.
Mm. Thanks so much, Pete. A great hero, actually. And what's interesting, Andrew, it's not maybe a particularly dramatic or grand thing that he did. He just simply introduced his brother to Jesus,
Yeah.
which, at the end of the day, like you say, and evangelism can seem rather daunting, rather intimidating idea, but it is just as simple as introducing people to Jesus, and that's
Yes.
exactly what Andrew did.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, really good.
Well, thanks so much, Pete, for bringing us another breakfast bite. Look forward to hearing from you again soon.
No problem too. Thank you.